Hello and welcome to Crack IELTS with Rob. My name's Matt and I'm super happy to be joining you today as part of the team. Today we're going to look at a full speaking exam using predicted questions, the kind of questions that you might get asked until the 31st of December 2022. These are questions that other students have received as part of their official IELTS test. And these ones will be reused for the next 4 months. So grab a pen and paper. You might want to jot down some ideas. Here's those questions and my Band 9 model answers. So let's go. Now let's talk about dreams. Do you share your dreams with other people? Sometimes I share my dreams with others. Most often it would be with my wife, but I'm also aware that most of the dreams that I have are utter nonsense and I can barely understand them, let alone articulate them or tell someone else. Do you think dreams have special meanings? Well, Sigmund Freud did when he made his book. I used to think so. Because I was given a book when I was a child about the interpretation of dreams, and I used to religiously look up some of the themes that were in dreams and share that with my friends. But that was more of an interesting thing, kind of like how people share horoscopes. They listen to them, but they don't really believe in them. So yes, I don't really believe that there's any special significance. It can just be quite funny or interesting what comes up. Now let's talk about computers. How often do you use a computer? To be honest, I use it several times a day. In fact, some days I do wake up and it's one of the first things that I turn on and one of the last things that I turn off. And when I'm not using a computer, which is one of my several laptops, I'll be using a phone, which is kind of a computer as well. So maybe that's a negative thing. But I do use it for work, studying, recreation, you name it, it's useful for doing something. What do you generally use a computer for? Just about everything these days. Work, studying, note-taking, watching films, just use it too much. Also modern life, it just revolves around the computer more naturally now. So we do all our shopping online, shopping for groceries, weekly shop. I do my banking online, monitor bills, pay bills, communicate with friends, talk to family abroad, WhatsApp, Skype. The list goes on. Sounds quite bad actually. What kinds of computers are popular in your country? The most popular would probably be the Apple MacBooks, the MacBook Pro and some iPads, but the Apple products also tend to be the most expensive. The user experience tends to be a bit greater on them, but in terms of the ones that are most commonly used, I think that would actually be a Dell, because they're slightly cheaper and the specs that you get for them are much less, so smaller businesses and they tend to use Dells, and personal computers tend to be Dells, or other makes are quite popular as well, HP, Samsung, Sony. Now let's move on to talk about mirrors. Do you like looking at yourself in the mirror? No, but to be honest, I do find it quite useful sometimes to talk to myself about things I have to do or practice things, like practicing IELTS questions. Have you ever bought a mirror? Yes, it was huge and heavy. When we bought our first apartment, it took about 3 people to carry it, and we had to carry it upstairs and round corners. It kind of felt like that episode of Friends where they go, "Pivot!" Do you usually take a mirror with you? No. If I need a mirror, I'll go and find one. Or nowadays, pretty much everybody has a smartphone, and that's what I use if I need to check something about myself. Do my lipstick. Would you use mirrors to decorate your room? Yes, especially in the UK, because apartments tend to be quite small, especially in in urban areas, in large cities, space is quite expensive. So I use them to brighten up small spaces, and they tend to give a room a more open feeling. So that's why I do find them quite useful. What functions does a mirror have? I suppose they're quite essential for driving. So you need to be able to look behind you and check things are safe, or if you're turning, you need to check your mirrors. Also, you use them quite a lot for cutting hair, applying makeup again. A lot of my female friends usually carry one, even though they have a smartphone as well. Oh yeah, and some people believe that they're not good, but bad luck if you break them. I don't know if that's a function. Do you use a mirror before buying clothing? Well, I prefer to, just to check that things fit and you can see yourself from other directions which you're not used to seeing yourself. But nowadays, most of the shopping that I do is online, and that's just not possible. So yeah, I guess I've been more used to not checking things before I buy them. Do you think a mirror is a good decoration? It can be good for communicating a certain style. Like I live in France at the moment, so a popular style is Belle Epoque, where you have quite elaborate mirrors. Back in the UK, there are lots of Victorian and old antique style mirrors. For me personally, I much prefer the just modern, sleek, just normal looking mirrors that show your face in them. That's all I need. So I'd like you to describe a food from your country that you really like. You have 1 to 2 minutes to speak about this topic, so don't worry if I stop you, and I'll tell you when the time is up. Okay? So could you please start speaking now, please? I'm going to talk about a dish from my country that I'm really mad about. Now, England's not traditionally known worldwide for its great cuisine, but this food that I really love is a roast dinner, and I think most English people would agree with me that it is an amazing meal. So generally in a roast dinner you'd have roast potatoes, perhaps some mushy peas, lots of other different types of veg like runner beans, maybe carrot and swede mash, cauliflower, maybe kale. You definitely have some Yorkshire puddings, the bigger the better, and drizzled with loads of delicious gravy over the top. And you'd usually have that with either roast beef or lamb, perhaps turkey if it was Christmas Day. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I guess I first had it at my grand's house. When I was young, she cooked quite a lot. Nowadays, I usually only eat it when I'm back in England, either at my grand's house, sometimes if I go to a pub on a Sunday. Yeah, but it's not so common. Usually it would be with family. Nowadays, I suppose it's important in our country because it's associated with special occasions. Like for me, I'd associate it with Christmas Day, and that was always a lovely time for getting together with family. For me, it reminds me of the people that I love and spending time together, and yeah, those warm and happy memories. In the last 5 minutes of this test, I'd like to talk to you about some more general questions related to this. Why do you think adapting to change is difficult for some people? Well, probably lots of reasons. I think particularly for people who have Asperger's or autism, that they find change particularly challenging. And amongst the general population, I'd say it's definitely something that depends on the person. There are some people who are quite flexible and open and adaptable, whereas there are also some people that I know, I'm not so great to say who have more rigid personalities, and they are quite, how do you say, resistant to change, particularly when something's fixed in their minds. So, yeah, it depends. Is it easy for old people to change? To be honest, I think it's a bit of an overused stereotype that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But it totally depends on the person. There are people like my granddad who is well into his 80s now, and he embraces change and technology quite readily. For example, he can use Skype and WhatsApp, respond to messages, and he's quite able to use not all aspects, but most aspects that are needed on the internet. And there are others, like my grandmother, who is, well, she would describe herself as a Luddite, i.e. somebody who resists all sorts of technology. Do people usually change their routine? Well, I think the definition of a routine is something that doesn't change so often, but there are some circumstances where they might need to change their routines, like if you have a new job, a new child, or something else that has just changed in life. Do you think change is good? I think, again, it sort of depends on the change. You can have good changes, you can have bad changes. An example of a good change would be a promotion, a change of job to something that you really like. So those changes are good. Bad changes, or those that we might not really want, are those like being in an accident, being ill, or generally something bad happening. The interesting thing about change, in my opinion, is that even when bad things do happen, I think we can make positive experiences out of them by learning from them and changing ourselves because of it. Do young people like to change plans? I'm not sure if I could call myself a young person anymore, but I would say that some people of my age who are friends of mine perhaps would be described as the Instagram generation. They are a little more prone, I'd say, to changing plans. For example, if I make an appointment, not an appointment, but we arrange a meeting with friends, I'd say my younger friends are more likely to cancel at the last minute than my older friends. And I think maybe because younger people tend to be a bit more laissez-faire, or they expect that we could just WhatsApp each other to change plans, or maybe they think it's not really a big deal to turn up late or to change things at the last minute. Personally, I don't like to change plans, not when I've arranged something with someone, because I feel it's a commitment, and I prefer it when people don't do that to me. What are the common reasons when people need to change plans? I'd say if there was a problem of some kind, for example a leak, maybe someone needs to come to the house, there's some kind of emergency that isn't usual, perhaps trains are delayed, or just they have a work deadline that they really have to meet. Generally, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, so if they do change plans, then, it's not going to kill me, so that's fine. What are some of the major changes that occur to people throughout their lives? Well, I suppose some of the things I've already mentioned, such as having a baby, changing jobs, moving houses. Those are some of the more stressful things. If you have the right mindset, then you can see all change, positive or negative, as developmental to help you to become a better person. Thank you. That's the end of the exam. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in this next video where we approach another topic being given to speakers.